Hey YouTube, it's your beekeeper here. Today we're working on my 2007 Harley FX DBI. It's a fuel-injected street bob. Fresh from accident repair. I'm just finishing off the last of the repairs. This is an aftermarket LED taillight that you can get on the internet for about 90 bucks. It has integrated turn signals. I bought the $90 taillight versus the $40 or $35 taillights because of in my opinion, the quality of the lens cover. I really liked how rich and red. I don't know if it really shows on this camera, but how rich and red the taillight is. The cheaper ones are just more washed out. It doesn't make a difference, but I'm just an idiot like that. But instead of throwing this out in the trash, I actually took it apart the end of 2019 and said, oh, okay, yeah, look, there's water getting into the taillight because I ride rain or shine, and and I'll show you what happened here. See how nice that is. There are two spots there and there that were wide open to the elements, and I didn't catch that putting this bike together originally. But when I did catch it about a little more than a year ago, I put that aluminum duct tape because it's really sticky and it holds up well. See, I'll show you the back side of the tape is here and here. So every time I'd get into water, which was a lot out here in the northwest coast of California, we get a lot of rain. It would fill the light up, and it caused corrosion and caused the resistors to fail, caused 4 of the little chip resistors to fail. And I went on eBay and I found a roll of 100 of them shipped to my house for $3.83. So that was kind of a no-brainer. I'm like, yeah, okay, for $3.83, I'll just swap out the resistors. I went in there with an ohm meter and I determined the 4 bad ones. It was pretty obvious actually by the sign of corrosion, but I just wanted to make sure. I hit them with an ohm meter. $3.83 versus 90 bucks, and this total repair took about 38 minutes start to finish. Oh yeah, spoiler alert, it works. So you're watching this on January 15th, 2021, which is exactly 1 year from my motorcycle accident on this very bike, January 15th, 2020, when I was riding home from work and a lady ran a red light and T-boned me on my right side, broke my arm, my hand, couple fingers. But I couldn't fix this bike until my attorney strongly suggested that I don't do anything to the bike until we get a settlement. Let's just get everything settled and then don't mess with it, which took about little over 6 months, almost 7 months to get settled. So that put us into July of 2020. Took me a few months to get motivated to fix it. And a good friend of mine who I ride with often was pushing me to get the bike repaired. So I brought it over to his house. And we spent the last 2 months getting it put back on the road, changing all the bent parts and ordering a bunch of new parts, exhaust, foot peg, brakes, shocks, handlebars, risers, fairing, all that stuff that got scraped up on and damaged. So this is just me finishing up a few loose ends. I've had these resistors sitting by my helmet in the garage for a little more than a year. And it's time to get cracking and ride this thing. And if you're watching this on January 15th, 2021, that means that I rode this bike to work just as defiance. I think, I don't know, maybe it's stupid, but if this video is live right now, January 15th, 2021, that means I got to work safely on my motorcycle. And so, yeah. So I have already taken this thing apart. I took it apart initially to determine what was wrong. And then I put it all together and I kept riding the bike. At least, until I got run over, and then it made it kind of difficult to ride when it was all bent. But I don't know, I'm having trouble getting that board out. Oh, there were 2 screws, and there's a couple clips too that hold that circuit board in, and I'm trying really hard not to break anything. Sometimes I lose patience and I get meat-handed and I start breaking things, but I played nice, and look at that. So this LED array, look at the rust from where the water just got in there and soaked those bottom ones, unfortunately. It's those 4 chip resistors. SMD chip resistor, 1 watt, 240 ohm with a 5% variation. And this is what you get for $3.83 from China. You get a roll of 100 of these cute little chip resistors. And man, they are tiny. Oof. But they're not tiny enough. Ironically, the resistors that are on the board, I'm looking at them now going, they don't look to be the right size. So the ones that are bad are going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the ones, each one of those resistors controls 3 lights. And there's a ton of resistors on that board. So I quickly determined that the ones that I bought are a little too big, so I had to make these legs out of wire and just kind of fan them out. So the edges of the little resistors that I bought are what actually gets soldered. So I'll show you how I make these legs here in the next clip. But yeah, Skippy's calling me there. I'm trying to talk to him. So I tin the edge. That's the edge of the resistor itself. I put a little flux on there and I tin them, and then I just lay them on the legs that I made. Very small amount of heat. So there by my thumb, the two center ones on either side of that LED are the ones I replaced. I don't know why that I was using the wrong camera, I guess. I didn't get a very good close-up of everything. It's kind of blurry, but I did two, and then we plug it in to test, and I'll look at that. We've got 6 more lights lit up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the ones. So I'm pretty happy now, and then I'm going to test the brakes. Yep, everything high and the low on that works. Fantastic. We're going to check the turn signals just to make sure I didn't overheat anything. Wait, are we testing? Yeah, we're going to test the turn signals just to make sure I didn't overheat anything on the board and cause any damage. Oh yeah, I'm dilly-dallying with the plugs. I'm not really smart. You guys know that already. There's right turn. Yay. Then I plug in the left turn. Let's try the left turn. Look at that. So yeah, so we replaced a bunch of parts on the bike. The bike's, oh, I did tires. I put new tires on it. We did brakes. Rebuilt the front forks, new shocks in the back, new exhaust system that was damaged. The foot peg, the brake peg, all the brackets on the right side, the fairing, the handlebars, the risers. Typical stuff that you smash when you hit the ground. So there's a closer look at those 2 resistors that I put in there. They're quite a bit bigger. The size, you can tell, it's the girth. But I know how to get around that. Like I said, with those little legs, just soldering small sections of wire onto the tabs, I'm able to lay the larger resistors right on top of them and solder them in. What I'll do is pop out a couple more, tap a few out, and I dip them. I dip the ends, right? These things, these chip resistors solder in on the ends. There's no built-in legs, so you just take them with the forceps right here. Oh no, actually no, that's okay. Let's back up. That's how I make the legs right there. I pull the strands out of a length of wire, twist it up, dip it in some flux, and then tin it with solder. And then I tap it on there, and it's a very, very small amount. It's like a 1/16 of an inch, if even. I need a little more solder on that one. But for the resistors, I pick them up in the forceps, and then I just dip the ends of it in that flux, tin the ends, lay the resistors on those little legs that I'm making right now, and it all works. And then of course I pick and poke at them to make sure that they're going to hold up against the vibration of being on the back of a rumbling V-twin. Pretty straightforward. The repair itself is pretty straightforward, and totally worth the time, in my opinion, to keep it out of the landfill for a little bit longer. And then, yeah, I'm talking to Skippy on the phone right here. So he's not getting the concept of what I'm doing. So I take a picture of how small this little resistor is and I send it to him. Yep, that's what I'm doing. I'm fixing a taillight. So we just grab it, we dip it, put a little bit of heat, a little bit of solder on them, just tins the end, and then I lay it on the little legs that I make, and that's it. And then I poke at it, I pick at it, trying to make it fail to a degree. Just kind of clean things up. Dip, dip. A little heat, a little tin, and lay it in place. And just like that, Bob's your uncle. Wait a minute. What do we do? Oh, we pulled it off. It wasn't sticking, actually. I didn't get it quite hot enough. It's such a quick dab of heat because you don't want to smoke it. So I didn't get enough heat on there. So I cleaned it, put a little more flux on it. We tried a second time, and then shakes the clown trying to solder on those fine little places. So I'm just lining it up here. Give it a good solder. There we go. It's bueno. And you give it too much heat and the wire falls off. Of course, the last one was a tricky one, right? Just shaping it a little bit. So we'll get a nice good look at it. So again, before I put it all together, let's go ahead and plug it in and see if I can get that whole LED center array to work. We'll test the turn signals again. Like I said, I don't want any surprises. Put this thing all back together and have it not work. Ah, look at that. Very, very nice. Super bright. Super bright. I like it. Pretty happy with that. Totally worth it. Totally worth $3.83 and 38 minutes of my afternoon. And I got a bunch of extra resistors if I ever need to fix anything else in the future, but it's probably pretty specific to this taillight. But you never know, right? You just never know. So let's walk back in the garage for this washing machine repair, and let's put everything away. Put it all back together. I'm not quite sure why I didn't just speed this part up. Not very exciting. I figure while I have it open, let's get some Windex in there. Give it a couple squirts. And because again, when it filled with water, it just kind of got dirty in there. But I like a nice crystal clear taillight. I'm not out doing anything bad, so it's not like I need to be stealth. I'd rather not get run over again by somebody who claims they didn't see me. Although I don't know how you don't see or hear my rolling thunder, if I can speak it English. So we'll put it all back together. We'll put that moisture barrier, which is probably not the best at this point, but the gasket still is in pretty good shape. So after just 38 minutes of my afternoon, little spit shine, we're ready to go. 3 plugs, 2 screws, bike's back on the road. Appreciate you guys watching, taking 13 minutes and 17 seconds out of your day. I do appreciate that. I think I said something earlier, and I've done this voice recording a couple times, 4 times I think is what it is. I don't know if I mentioned it. I may have said something about 17 minutes earlier, but I've done some editing, and now we're down to 13 minutes and 17 seconds to try to keep it interesting and keep you guys watching, I guess, you know, not just boring stuff I guess I cut out. But I appreciate you watching. I really, really do. If I inspired somebody to think twice before throwing something away and throwing it in the chuck it bucket and just clicking buy it now for a replacement, you know, a little bit of work, you don't even have to be smart. I mean, look at me. I'm not a very smart fella, but I got this one figured out, and it's as good as new there. Ooh, that's so nice and bright as compared to when I first started the video. So off we go. Put the bike away, take it to work in the morning. I appreciate you guys watching. Really, really do. Hope everybody's doing well in 2021. Gotta go, gotta run.